Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have pen and paper because I'm going to explain to you something that you weren't aware of.
My problem.
Welcome back to another episode of the show the government doesn't want you to know about.
Yes. We're in an underground bunker.
Yeah, we're going to blow the lid off the coronavirus.
I don't know why, maybe, but I was going to say, your show of shows. I was like, that's not
Your show of
the
shows?
right, that's not the right thing.
What is it, a game show?
It's howdy doody. No.
Anyway,
Stop
this is another episode of Tinfoil Radio.
Listen, being down in this bunker.
Will you shut up and let me do an intro?
We're always down here.
Sometimes I have to yell at you to be like, hey, I'm trying to start the show. I'm trying to end the show.
Well, you'll let me out every once in a while for some sunshine, motherfucker.
As soon as we're done here, you get back to your hole. Anyway, this week we're going to be talking about the coronavirus, or by its official name, COVID-19, and all the paranoia and hysteria behind it, and hopefully we can shine some light on what's really happening and things that you should know about
Why
it.
is it named after a beer?
Well, coronavirus in and of itself is it's like a kind of like an umbrella name for it.
Why is the virus named after a part of the sun, the coronosphere?
Look at you.
All smart and shit.
Did you look that up before we started?
No, I know a lot about the sun. I'm fascinated about space, man. Okay.
Spaceman. We gotta get more into space conspiracies.
Space. So, for the first time,
Okay.
Jake sent me a rundown, which is cool. And so I think one of the best things is I think if you want to tell I want to know more about Alex Jones and what he thinks. Because he's one of my favorites, I think.
There's so much to unpack with Alex Jones because he's pushing a narrative for coronavirus, which, by the way, all the knowledge that I have on Alex Jones is years of just watching him to be like, why do people follow this guy? But also, there's a really good podcast out there called Knowledge Fight with Dan and Jordan, and they do a great job. Dan does a much better job than I do with research. I have about 3 pages.
Oh, no. Don't sell yourself short.
But he does a lot more.
Despite the fact that you keep me in this bunker all the time.
But you should listen to that show if you really want to get in the nitty-gritty of Alex Jones. But his big thing, and we'll talk about him because
we'll get to that later.
He's pushing a big narrative. But what I
origins,
what I will say this, we will definitely cover Alex Jones.
I'm so happy. I can't wait. But I want to know.
Not just him, but also the people that are associated with him, because the people that he associates with are just as fucking crazy, if not more so.
So, yeah. And so part of the reason why, every show so far in this series has been unique in its own way. For various reasons. This one is because it's
so current. It's happening.
Very current. It's relevant. I don't know about you, but I'm freaked out. And there are a lot of conspiracy theories floating around about it. My conspiracy theory is that we're on our way to Last Man on Earth.
Oh, this is gonna kill us all off.
I'm gonna be the dude driving around in the Winnebago, and I'm not gonna care that anybody else is around. Well, I mean, obviously my loved ones. That's fucked up. But you know what I mean. Like once I get past that initial shock and grieving, I will be okay. So
anyway, back to your original question.
Yes,
of Alex Jones.
I want to know. Well, I kind of want to know first, which will help us with these conspiracy theories that we want to talk to you about. I want to know kind of like, I think the first kind of conspiracy that came out about it is kind of delved into it kind of wrapped around in where it originated from. And so why don't you...
Okay, so
Bats was a...
Yeah, to go back to originally what you said about Alex Jones, his purpose in this story is he is, I feel like, finally hitting an economic boom for his company since
Which
being
is weird.
well, it's because he sells all that stupid survival shit. He sells water filters. He sells gargle. He
He's an
sells
ass.
fish oil.
He's an ass.
But that's how he makes his money. And because he's pushed this high level of paranoia of the coronavirus, he is making a lot of money from it. So that's kind of his role in this. But anyway, coronavirus in and of itself, or as its proper name, COVID-19,
I don't like it.
is scaring people. And I want you to know there's kind of a pattern here, because the planet wants to kill you, and it tries to find ways to make new mutations of viruses to kill you. That's what I think COVID-19 is. Other people have their theories. So,
You want to hear mine real quick? It's real quick.
what?
Mother Earth, Gaia herself, has decreed that we are no longer worthy.
The Greek Titan?
Yes. Gaia.
I only know that because of the God of War games.
And she's like, you know what? You guys are going to think this is not that big of a deal until you're all dead.
It's true.
And
Well,
then all the
no,
deer will
Tyler,
run
it's not that
around
bad. I will explain to you why it's
I
not that
know.
bad.
I'm kind of spreading fear with that, aren't I?
Yeah, I
I
know.
better stop.
So, the origin is still unknown, and that is what also scares people. There's two things that happen with these kind of outbreaks, these pandemics. It's one, it's something new and we weren't prepared for it, and then two, we don't know where it came from, and we don't know what started this. And I think some people can hold weight to some of these origins. So, some think this one doesn't make sense, but some do think it is a racially focused bioweapon, and guess who thinks that? Our favorite racist psychopath, Alex Jones. Then there's others that think that it escaped a lab. That originally I brushed that off as conspiracy, but I feel like there are a lot of times when these quarantine units work on these kind of diseases, and because they're trying to find vaccinations for it. They're trying to find ways to cure it. So they do work with things like SARS and MERS on a normal basis.
And there are also, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen, there are also labs that create bioweapons.
yes,
this is
those
not,
exist, but this isn't.
This
one.
is not one of them. But I want you to be aware that actual humans are working on ways to kill as many of you as possible in a quickest. Just throw that out there.
Yeah. Well, and this is the real thing. In reality, it's probably something that was transmitted similar to SARS or MERS. It got from an animal to a human.
Somebody fucked a bat.
Like AIDS, when people thought they just humped a monkey. Yeah, but it's fucking bats. It's always fucking bats. Now we know.
Always bats.
Look what bats did. Look at the
was
fear.
Birds.
No,
Avian flu.
that's the bird
Is
flu.
that a totally different thing?
I think no, yeah, because SARS is
Fucking idiot.
a respiratory thing.
Sorry.
I don't remember the name of it. But the speculation is it's some bats. Bats are just riddled with disease, like
I
rats.
was just watching Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when they see all those bats in the air, and Willie is like, "Oh, look at all the big birds," and Indiana Jones is like, "They're not birds, sweetheart. They're bats, giant vampire bats." That was my Indiana Jones impression.
So, and for the first time in the show, because we're covering something that's happening right now,
Right now.
this is all we know.
Right now.
That's
Yeah.
all we know.
That's well.
And so, let's jump into the stories, the theories that come from this kind of stuff. All right, ready?
Let's do it.
First one's up.
Jump in.
China stole the virus from Canada and used it on its own people.
Well, yeah. I mean, clearly. Well,
So there was
what happened is that these spies, they took.
by the way, a couple is
Yeah.
man and woman.
Oh yeah, it's a man and a woman spy. So it's like that show, The Americans. You know, Carrie Russell's just a national treasure. Okay, so it's a husband and wife
never
spy
watched The
team. I
Americans.
never did either, but I hear so many good things about it. But they were removed from a level 4 infectious disease facility And a lot of people speculate that the reason why was because that they stole the virus and they were trying to bring it back to China to use, which is bullshit.
Well, it was a
yeah.
CBC article, which
Mhm,
is the
mhm.
it's the BBC, but for Canada. Yeah, they reported about this,
Mhm.
and as people do, they see and this was, by the way, in the summer of last year. Uh, so it really kind of took off when hedge fund manager, which is AKA scumbag, that's the rich douchebag generic character in movies, tweeted that a Chinese husband and wife spy team, as you mentioned,
Mhm.
were removed from a level 4 infectious disease facility.
Mhm.
That is true that they were removed from the facility, not because they were spies. It was an investigation on practices. So it was something else.
That doesn't make me feel better, man. Like at all. I was reading through this rundown, and I got to the end of it where you're like, well, this is actually what happened, and it's good. It's good research. But then the reason the couple was escorted out of the facility in Winnipeg, go Jets, was due to an RCMP investigation for a possible policy breach. And I'm like, well, what was the policy breach? You're making diseases to kill as many of us as possible?
Well, yeah,
Just saying.
that is true.
I'm
And I
just
understand
saying.
how you could be worried about that.
Everything else about that paragraph was like, whew, I feel better, except for that last sentence. And I'm like, that's fucking.
But anyway, he continued to say that these spies, in air quotes, they carried this back to China, and while they did carry the diseases, they carried I don't have it in front of me, but they did carry live diseases for research. That article, which I mentioned, is Zero Hedge, which is a conspiracy website.
Mhm.
They're asking, did China steal coronavirus from Canada and weaponize it? Guess who wrote it? Tyler Durden.
Really?
Sound familiar? He's a fictional character
Yeah.
in Fight Club.
Yeah.
So I don't trust Zero Hedge on anything that they report.
Can I just say one thing about that movie?
What?
Fight Club.
What? Don't talk about it?
When it
You
came
shouldn't
out,
be talking about it.
Okay.
Because it's Fight Club.
when it came out, I actually benefited quite a bit from Brad Pitt playing a dude named Tyler.
Well, you don't really look like him, so I don't know how that...
No, but it doesn't matter because there was a badass character named Tyler that was imprinted on women's brains.
But he was also fake. Not just in the
Do you
movie.
think they watched
Not
enough
just-
of it? Just kidding.
Anyway.
Just saying, that was awesome. That was thanks,
But
Brad
yeah,
Pitt.
these articles that
Love it.
kind of spewed this conspiracy were shared over 6,000 times, and there was a TikTok video of them being escorted out that was shared 30,000 times, and around that 30,000 mark. So as you said, the couple did fly to China from Canada carrying the diseases, but this isn't uncommon, and they were following the typical guidelines that you have to follow.
And
for
anyway, it wasn't even with them. It's not even there. What they were taking back to China isn't even COVID-19. So shh.
yes, that was not in the shipment. It was actual.
So when you take a step back and you realize, wow, my head's up my ass, America.
So yeah,
And then Jake comes along and goes, here, let me pull that out for you.
I'll let you figure this out. But that's what I'm saying. That was
It's really jammed up there, America.
That was literally the first thing I found. And guys, it's not that hard. I Google searched. Actually, I think I was on YouTube. I YouTube searched coronavirus conspiracy theories, and this is like the third video that popped up. The other two were explaining like this is where you can find information about this stuff. You can go to CDC's website and the WHO, the World Health Organization. They're easy. I'll put links in the description for places to find them. They're easy to use, and they can sort things out. And a lot of this stuff, you don't have to do that much digging.
No.
It's kind of right in front of you. And this is
It's
something...
spreading like wildfire anyway.
Yeah. This is something that...
The conspiracy theories, not the...
It reminds me so much of swine flu. And you could go back further and look at bird flu. And it's... While these are legitimate health concerns, and this is serious, people have died. It is not... something that isn't something to be mindful of and be
Right.
careful with, but this happens all the time. It's a pattern. Circular. Some people would say it happens always during election years.
Psycho.
Although I
That
think
was a Happy Gilmore reference. You were like circular.
circular. Actually, I think swine flu was in 2009. Could have been 2008. I don't
In your
remember.
research, did you happen to look at the 1918 influenza outbreak?
The
The
Spanish
Spanish
flu?
flu.
Well,
And how many people that killed worldwide?
I don't know. I could Google it. I have a laptop in front of me.
It's a lot.
Well, yeah, but that's 1918 versus 2020. It's a different time.
Are we really? Is it? Are you? Because honestly, I think science is about the same place as it was. Because all these fucking morons around going, "I'm a scientist." Really? Well, he said he's a scientist.
You mean like guys like Mike Adams that
yeah,
hangs out
let's talk about that dipshit.
with Alex Jones?
Fuck that
We'll
guy.
get there. We'll get there. The next conspiracy theory, which, again, I think could be the most logical one of all of these, but it is the mascot for it is not the best person to be a mascot for this. Tom Cotton has been trumpeting a theory that I've seen floating around many circles, including, remember Alex Jones? InfoWars. I just want you to think about that. Think about InfoWars also sharing the same kind of thinking that this guy has.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy isn't trying to sell, water filters and dick pills, okay?
He's just an ass.
He's just an idiot. So, Cotton claims that, quote, we don't know where it came from, and we need to get to the bottom of that.
We don't need
end
no
quote.
education. Yes.
Sensible statement. I won't say that's an idiotic thing. That's a normal thing to say. We need to figure that out, sure. But then he goes on. He says, quote, we also know that just a few miles away from that food market is China's only biosafety level 4 super laboratory.
Is that the real Umbrella Academy thing? The
That research. Oh, we'll get to
Raccoon City?
I don't have it on here, but you just reminded me.
Oh, yeah, good.
Stop. It's the Super 4 laboratory that researches human infectious diseases. End quote. Again, not bad. He's saying sensible things. They're not really out there. They're not conspiracy theories. But then he continues to talk. Mm-hmm. Quote, now we don't have evidence that this disease originated there. But because of China's duplicity and dishonesty from the beginning, we need to at least ask the question to see what the evidence says. And China right now is not giving any evidence on that question at all. Again, he's not completely out of line of thinking here. Mm-hmm. Because, yes, China is communist, right? And if you watch Chernobyl on HBO, or if you actually knew about what happened with Chernobyl.
I was alive when that happened.
Yeah, you were actually alive for that, you dinosaur.
I was alive when 3 Mile Island happened.
But what that showed you with the Soviet Union, which is something that happens with communism. It's that idea that we can't let this get out. We have state-run TV.
Oh, dude, China is so in control of everything.
Jinping? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't
know.
We
had this problem last week.
Dang it, I should have looked up his pronunciation.
I'm going to
look. Time out.
Yes.
No, I'm going to look up his pronunciation. I want to get this right. So we looked up the pronunciation. Tyler, you think you got it better than I did. So it was President
Xi Jinping.
Yes, that's who is in control of China. And now it might not be the same situation as Chernobyl with the Soviet Union, and it might not be the same, but it still follows that ideology of we control everything so we can keep things from getting out. So I understand.
Yeah, they got locked down.
And I do think that China isn't being completely truthful. I think they're trying to downplay certain aspects of the narrative because they're our biggest trade partner. And I know this doesn't. There's other products.
It's revealed, that there is, an actual virus coming from China. Nobody's gonna want to buy anything from them.
Exactly.
And that's gonna fucking collapse their economy.
So that's why I want to go back to the idea.
So maybe it was made by the U.S. government.
No. I want to rewind to that because Alex Jones, before he started trumpeting the idea that it's racially based, he was trying to explain that China used it on themselves to hurt our economy because they are our biggest trade partner.
That's dumb.
So you
The way
have
that I just
you
said it
have-
is the actual way that it would go.
you have companies like Apple and Microsoft, and the biggest names in tech. All of them rely on China and their sweatshops. It's shitty, but that's the truth. It's one of the aspects of American capitalism that I hate. That we talk about building up the American worker, and I know I'm
Yeah,
getting
but
political
Mr.
here,
Jones, you're going to collapse the world economy because China is such.
and that's the problem.
Yeah, it's not just
Guys
us.
like Alex Jones hate globalism and demonize it, which, by the way, when he says globalist, he means Jewish. He's anti-Semitic. He loves Russia, and
Yeah.
he's racist. Alex Jones is not somebody you want to say, I don't want a global economy.
He's anti-Semitic.
Whether he likes it or not, it's a global economy. So it wouldn't just hurt us.
Have
it
you
would
ever
hurt
heard, like, how
them.
much the world is in debt and like how?
That's the thing, Tyler. Who's going to want to put a plant in China after that? If it gets worse and worse, nobody's going to want to build sweatshops in China. And it's going to hurt everybody because
Whether
it
you
isn't
like
just
it-
us that use
it's-
China.
Just think about it like this, folks. The air that we breathe, contrary to our current president, what he thinks, the air that we breathe will eventually be breathed by every other living thing on this planet at some point. It's not like fresh oxygen is coming through the fucking atmosphere from space, and like it's not okay. So
I don't know about that, sir.
well, I'm just saying, like, water recycles itself
I'm
around the
joking.
world.
I'm joking.
Air recycle. I'm just saying, like, it's not that hard to believe that if one country that large that has that big of an effect on other countries' economies, that country collapsing, that would throw
it
the
isn't-
entire
it-
world into disarray.
It isn't just China that has a lot of production and factories in the East. It's all those Eastern countries. It's not just Asia.
Right.
Or it is not just China. It is Asia, is what I meant to say. So all those Asian factories are going to be affected by this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to say that it's just our economy, and that's why I immediately killed that down
And
because
yeah,
it makes no sense.
every-
And why would they release it on their own people where the production is?
Yeah, that's dumb. I mean, you're literally.
Well,
fucking
no,
the whole
those
human
people-
race.
No, Tyler, but it's those people that were in China that came back to America, and they infected us. And I was like, it's gonna get there. It's gonna get it's a pandemic
Yeah,
for
it
a
didn't.
reason.
It didn't help that you brought 14 people back.
But they went to a world-renowned quarantine facility.
Well, the people who were
In Omaha,
the
Nebraska.
people who were handling these people, these quarantiners, were not protected. They didn't have masks or anything. So just wanted to throw
Yeah,
that
but
out there.
You're also putting it with
There's
people.
7,000 openings in the CDC right now. 700. Sorry.
So back to cotton, which I liked the diversion. It was nice. It was a nice.
I just want to throw just some more hysteria into the mix because honestly,
I know you were fear
I
mongering
want to
terribly.
see the fucking world end. Not like conservatives with the whole rapture and shit like that. I just want, like, I really want to drive a Winnebago around and collect priceless pieces of art and shit in a pool.
You really love the idea of an apocalypse, don't you?
You know I'm not going to be the one, but that would be really cool if I was. I mean, you know what I'm saying, folks.
Anyway,
I'm not-
Cotton,
okay.
I'm going to just move on. Cotton is saying here that he doesn't essentially believe it's a natural virus. He's implying that the virus is man-made in the lab, as he just mentioned, and he is in the company to make it seem like China is lying and try to make a possible bioweapon. Bioweapons exist. They are a thing. But this theory has already been debunked by scientists.
Badonkadonk?
Debunked by
Yeah, Jake. All right.
actual scientists.
Take that thing. What? Yes.
Hold on one second. I'm pulling them up. Oh my God, Washington Post. Stop it. That's where I'm getting this article from. By the way, all the articles I use in this episode will be in the description, so you can go look them up for yourself. Richard Ebright, a professor of chemical biology at Rutgers University, said about what Tom Cotton had to say, there's absolutely nothing in the genome sequence of this virus that indicates the virus was engineered. Again, I'm going to trust what he
the
says.
guy who was paid. No, I'm just
Who's working for a public university.
kidding. Crazy. Dude.
Government.
He is government funded.
He
if it's
continues.
public.
He continues to say the possibility this was a deliberately released bioweapon can firmly be excluded, or can be firmly excluded. I want to make sure I got that quote right because I am quoting.
So, in
And
other
I
words,
have integrity.
scientists agree, mostly, and we're talking about real scientists, Mike Adams. But they all agree.
Oh man, he'll be his own
Can't
episode.
wait.
It's gonna be
Can't wait. I fucking hate people like that. Well, my faith tells me that if the Bible says 2 + 2 = 5, blah blah blah. Anyway, so generally scientists agree mostly that it's a virus like the flu or like any other virus that starts somewhere in nature and then becomes infectious to us. It wasn't engineered by humans.
Yeah, it's again. This planet doesn't want you on it,
Right.
and will try and kill you.
Typhoid, which we have, measles, chickenpox, all of those things. Those are not engineered by human beings. Those were things that were around, and until like real medicine, we couldn't like cure them and stuff. So, yeah, I accept that. I accept that it is that it is not a man-made virus, that it is just a natural occurring virus. But yeah,
I'm gonna butcher this name,
Captain
so I'm
Trips.
not even gonna say this. So
Captain Trips, ladies and gentlemen.
you can. It's not the Stand. Stop it.
Fucking is, dude.
So the Chinese ambassador to the United States. I'm not.
You and me, Nebraska, with old Mother Abigail. Okay, what?
Anyway, I've never read the book, so stop. Well, I'm not gonna pronounce their name. You can look it up. It's the
I was
Chinese
gonna
ambassador to the United States, and they were on CBS and they were asked about Tom Cotton's claims. This person, I don't know, he or she, because I haven't looked at a picture of them. This person says, it's true that a lot is still unknown, but it is very harmful. It's very dangerous to stir up suspicion, rumors, and spread them among the people. For one thing, this will create panic. Another thing is that it will fan up racial discrimination, xenophobia, all these things that will really harm our joint efforts to combat the virus. Which I'm glad the Chinese ambassador said that, because that is why it is called COVID-19 and not coronavirus. Because something like SARS, it is tied to a region. MERS is tied to a region. MERS, not the rapper.
I actually, you just made me think of a merkin.
Merkin?
A merkin is a pubic toupee.
That's the name.
It's a pubic wig.
For example, MERS
Look it
is
up.
the
Okay.
Middle Eastern
Yeah.
respiratory syndrome,
Okay.
and then SARS. I don't have.
Southeast Asian respiratory system.
But it's actually severe
Syndrome?
acute respiratory
What is it?
syndrome. SARS isn't related to a region, but MERS is.
Well, what the fuck, Jake?
I thought SARS was. I'm
you
sorry.
know, God damn
You
it.
know how much fucking information
You
I've had to
actually
deal with.
Put a fucking rundown and put it in a damn email, shoved it up my ass. I'm digging up in there going, what the fuck is my password again? Print it out.
Oh my God! Do you know how hard it is to cover something that's happening right now, asshole? But there's a ton of information about it every day.
Depleted my color in my printer.
You know what? Why don't you research an episode, you jerk?
Okay. So
Anyway,
MERS,
back
okay.
to the show.
But we get the whole, you're saying,
That's and I don't think there's a ton
joking aside.
I don't think there's a ton of racially charged stuff unless you're talking about InfoWars. But when isn't InfoWars racially charged? Real quick, Tyler. Fun fact. You know who Tom Cotton is?
No, but my chair sounds like I'm farting and it's awesome. No, who is
He
Tom
is
Cotton?
a U.S. senator from Arkansas.
Awesome.
Vote. Elections have
Is
consequences.
he a Republican?
He is.
That's weird that I just guessed.
Weird that happens, huh? So now's the moment you've been waiting for. And honestly, I've kind of been waiting for too. Alex Jones is going to be a recurring character in this podcast. And
Yeah.
he gave
He's
me
kind of a turd.
he gave me the inspiration to do one of the things that we're doing, because right now we're in this idea of we do a topic, we do a few of them, And then we had Tyler do his own conspiracy theories. We're going to have some fun, different episodes. And Profiles in Conspiracy were going to be what we did this week. But Lynn Leah is the person that I chose. I wanted to go small, and that she's boring as hell.
And by the way, another fresh conspiracy theory. Last week when I was doing that episode, I was possessed by an alien.
There you go.
So nothing that I said was from my brain.
You can't prove it.
You know what? The best part? It's not that you can't prove it. Or not that I can't prove it. It's the fact that nobody can disprove it. Suck it.
So Alex can be a recurring character, not only in Profiles in Conspiracy, but when we do topics like this
Anything.
or really anything. We're definitely going to cover Pizzagate at some point.
Any topic, any conspiracy so far has been
yes.
like we can find an episode of that dumbass. Going
Alex
like,
is.
Whoa!
Alex has spent a career of being a drifter.
Can you please do some Alex Jones for us?
Grifter, I mean. Well, all right. I'll read this as Alex Jones. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Our favorite. Hold on. Our favorite psychopath, Alex Jones. I mean, I'm just asking questions. All right. And he decided to weigh in on the coronavirus because it's confirmed. It's everywhere. That's one of his favorite phrases.
Whoa!
It's confirmed. It's in the white pages.
Anyway, it's in the white pages.
Anyway, he
Nobody
decided
uses phone books anymore, dipshit.
pretty much all of his programming right now is the coronavirus, especially because
I miss phone books. Yeah.
Because Alex is clinging so hard to relevancy. He went to CPAC that's going on right now.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't.
Fuck those
Listen
guys.
to the people that are at CPAC. Diamond and Silk, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Glenn Beck.
I'm throwing up in my
Now those are
mouth,
just a
ladies
few
and
names,
gentlemen.
and when I say them, you think
Horrifying human beings.
right. And Alex is so bad that he wasn't even invited to that. So he's gone to a CPAC. So his show is being run by Mike Adams right now. Mike Adams is guest hosting this whole week of Alex Jones' show. And I am...
So wait, he wasn't invited to CPAC? Don't you have to be invited?
No, it's like when WWE has like WrestleMania, say in a city, say like Tampa, there's other independent wrestling promotions that do their own events around that weekend. So it's a similar idea. CPAC's going on, so then he's going to set up something like across the street and then bitch and moan that he's deplatformed and free speech, First Amendment, and all this shit while CPAC's going on, and he's just trying to get... He's grifting. Alex Jones...
The amendment doesn't count if we don't want to fucking hear anything out of your mouth.
Alex Jones is a grifter. He's been grifting for 25 years, and this is his new grift. It's lie about the coronavirus so you can keep your business afloat, and then bitch and moan about being deplatformed, even though you clearly broke those companies' terms of service. Which, by the way, update, PragerU. You're familiar with PragerU, right? PragerU. Dennis Prager.
Oh, no.
It is right-wing videos that you see on YouTube that are usually with conservative stars like Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin.
My ears are bleeding right now.
Glenn
folks.
Beck's been on there. They think that they were getting shadow banned and attacked by YouTube. Granted, I don't know I'm not giving out the whole entire case. I'm just paraphrasing for what I've seen or what I can, because I've heard shadow ban from conservatives all the time. And they sued YouTube and Google, and the court threw it out.
Good.
Because they said it's a private company. It can do whatever it wants.
Eat shit.
So anyway, sorry for that tangent, but I
I
want
just
it.
really wanted
I
to
want
sing.
I want it to be clear
Yeah.
that even with Alex Kahn and Mike Adams running the show, that doesn't matter. Alex has spent most of his programming focused on the coronavirus because it can sell his survivalist bullshit products.
Mm-hmm.
So he originally started with the grift of, oh man, and there was no stone unturned for coronavirus conspiracy theories. He was the one who I mentioned that said it was a lab, it was a bioweapon that was released on its own people to hurt our economy. Then when people didn't believe that, he went back further. He even played into the fucking Resident Evil conspiracy theory, which we will touch on.
So funny.
He plays into that.
So funny because it's so true.
So now he is on a whole nother level of grift.
Whole nother level.
He believes, and last week's show at the end of the week, he had an interview segment with Mike Adams, who's been all over InfoWars programming because, of course, he's their, quote, scientific expert. Yeah, that didn't sound weird when I said it. Scientific expert.
Dipshit.
He really is a scientific dipshit.
Mm-hmm. And that's scientific.
So anyway,
we did the method.
Which, by the way, has his own website, naturalnews.com, which is it is the medical version of Alex Jones, is what Mac Adam is.
Yeah.
By the way, he got taken off Facebook, because he had live Ebola and was trying to kill it with bleach to push his conspiracy theory that bleach was killing Ebola. I know your head hurts.
Folks, it's confirmed. I'm going to barf.
So yes, Alec Adams is often mocked in medical circles for being a conspiracy theorist and, well, an idiot. So obviously he's the perfect choice for Alex to have on his show.
Duh.
So anyway, the latest...
He's like Dr. Oz for like everybody else.
The latest lie is claiming that the coronavirus is now a race-targeting weapon.
Which race?
Oh, I hope you're ready for this. I'm going to play a clip from Alex Jones' show.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I hope you're ready to just hear this much stupidity, all right?
So the people at least risk, according to this chart, are, for example, white people living in Utah.
Dude,
White people in Utah.
And then
Me,
the next least risk is Western Europeans, sort of white people from Europe. And then above that, a little higher risk are people of African descent. And a little bit higher risk is people of South Asia, such as India and the Middle East and so on.
Good.
And then at the highest risk is Asian people, and the very highest is Japanese. So this tells you, every time, remember, you talk about Bill Gates and the vaccine agenda and the depopulation agenda. Who did they always target? They always targeted Africans, Indians, people from third world nations, and so on. And that's exactly what this
Let's be clear, there's a giant
targets.
history of secret testing
against
these particular groups. I mean, the Holy Grail is a race-specific bioweapon.
The Holy Grail is a race-specific bioweapon that they are unleashing on us right now via the coronavirus. This is what I love about Alex and conspiracy theorists, how they continue to move the goalposts and are already spinning a different yarn. So I feel like people are onto them to be like, oh, people know that this didn't escape a lab and this isn't man-made. But how do we flip it and reverse it to make it say that it is man-made and then make it race-focused so they're going after Asians? And white people aren't at risk either. We're safe. And they don't get the...
I'm sure they'd like to believe that.
By the way, that is a 40-minute clip that I only took the beginning of because it is boring and it's stupid and...
There's been a large history of...
While Alex is the least entertaining in his bullshit, Mike Adams is not. Mike Adams is cardboard. He's nothing. So Alex uses an article from The Scientist that was published on November 16th.
He punched it right through your brain.
Almost 5 years ago.
Punches right through your brain, America. Okay, what?
It was the creation of the chimera. So it says lab-made coronavirus triggers debate is the headline. It says the creation of chimera SARS-like virus has scientists discussing the risks of gain-of-function research.
What website is this?
The Scientist.
Oh.
.com.
A reputable? Because it sounds reputable.
Well, it's just funny because he takes this. This is what Alex does all the time. Mm-hmm. He takes articles, takes headlines, sometimes from his own fucking website.
Sounds like everybody, ever.
Right. You understand? You're like, how could people just not even read the article, look at the headlines? I'm like, Alex Jones has been doing it for 25 years.
I always read the article. Unless it's a meme, then there's no article. And then you just want to make sure the fucking grammar and spelling are correct. There's nothing worse than reposting. Some of my friends repost a meme where the grammar's off or your is your instead of your. And
So,
it's just like, God damn it.
One important paragraph to take from this. It says in October. Yeah, I said that. October 2013, the U.S. government put a stop to all federal funding for gain-of-function studies, with particular concern rising about influenza, SARS, and MERS. NIH, or the National Institute of Health, has funded such studies because they help define the fundamental nature of human pathogen interactions. So they're using these diseases to study them so they can figure out how to combat them. But the government was a little testy on that. They're saying, hey, I don't know if we should keep doing this.
Hey, guys.
Because, there's a
we should stop.
There's a legit risk to this kind of research.
Yeah.
So it says that they help define the fundamental nature of human pathogen interactions, enable the assessment of the pandemic potential of emerging infectious agents, and inform public health and preparedness efforts.
Mm.
These studies, however, also entail biosafety and biosecurity risks, which need to be understood better.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, again, relating to the U.S. government, not China.
Okay.
But this is what Alex is using this article, and he was saying in that video that it's confirmed in the scientists that Obama. Stay with me.
Oh, God.
Stay with me.
Conservative devil.
Was selling these.
I fucking campaigned for
He-
Obama.
He was
And
saying.
I'm still proud of it. Go ahead.
He was saying that they were. He was saying that Obama was selling these SARS-like, MERS-like diseases to China. And that's how China got a hold of it. And that's how China created this bioweapon. Still don't know how that relates to race, but that's what he believes. I want to point out that the article doesn't say that. It's the whole point of the article was the debate that came from should we be studying SARS and MERS and the influenza, studying these things in these facilities. Nowhere in that does it say, hey, we should make these racially target. How do you racially target someone? How? How do you say, I want this virus to attack this? This is science fiction.
Yeah, unless you've
The specific race, it has to get
actually
them.
decoded the entire human genome and mapped it, which nobody still has done.
Which, by the way,
it's like billions and billions of lines of code.
again, the article.
And I think we're up to like 10 million.
Yeah. And the article, the link to that article will also be in the description if you want to check it out.
Nudge, nudge, know what I mean?
It's almost like we're the same.
You and me?
And other races. It's almost like we're the same.
Yeah, we are, duh. I mean, listen, guys, folks, let me just tell you something, okay? It's
almost like race is a man-made thing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Here's another fun one. And again, this is another conspiracy theory, as I mentioned before, that Alex Jones got behind. There's some Wuhan biotech labs that have a logo.
Oh yeah, this is great.
That look very similar to the Umbrella Corporation in the Resident Evil games. And if you haven't played the Resident Evil games, essentially the Umbrella.
You've watched the movie if you haven't.
Or if
played
you've
the
watched
games.
one of the 7 movies.
You've done one.
Which
or
are
the
all bad.
You've had to have done one or the other because it's required by United States law that you have to watch at least one Resident Evil and one Fast and the fucking Furious. And one Twilight.
So first things first.
I went grandfathered in on that Twilight shit.
Thanks to Snopes, by the way. I'll leave this article in the description.
Yeah, Snopes did get me grandfathered past the... You're right, Jake. Thanks.
I'm just going to... I don't even pay attention to the stupid shit you say sometimes, I'll be honest. Anyway, so people are saying, wait a minute, there's a bio lab in Wuhan that has the Umbrella Corporation logo. Umbrella Corporation in Resident Evil, they create the zombies.
Mm-hmm.
and all the
Because they're
viruses.
dicks.
Yeah, they're the evil corporation.
They were getting their butts kicked.
Well, for starters, that logo is not from a biotech lab
Nope.
or company in Wuhan.
It's from a umbrella factory.
No.
Oh,
That logo is real. That looks like the Umbrella Corporation. It's real,
yeah.
but it's not even in Wuhan.
Oh,
For starters.
okay. It's in
Shanghai.
Kazakhstan,
It's in Shanghai.
Chechnya.
So the rough translation of the picture that was put on Twitter that kind of sparked this thing, it says Shanghai Rulan Bohusan Biotech Limited, and that would mean it would be in Shanghai, not Wuhan.
Yeah.
These two Chinese cities are 500 miles away from each other.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you know, like, in the whole of China, like, do you know where the Wuhan province is? Because I don't.
I don't know.
I
but-
imagine it to be like the Chinese version of the Midwest. I'm gonna look it up.
Regardless, these cities are 500 miles away.
That's
I don't
the main point.
I don't think people understand the size of China. It's a pretty decent sized country. So that's one.
Decent sized.
If you go to the company's website, it'll show the blue-white umbrella logo. But again, it is located in Shanghai, China. And people, first of all, and this is where they get the idea that Corona is an anagram of raccoon, which, by the way, doesn't make any sense because they're not even the same amount of letters. Because Corona only has one C, while raccoon has two. And raccoon... Jesus Christ. The fact that I have to read this Snopes article to you. What do you do? Why are you using Google Maps?
What do you want me to use?
Just regular Google. Why are you using China?
I did use regular Google. Ass. Fuck, dude. What a dick.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so if you imagine China, if you imagine kind of like it's the it kind of looks like a fat baby almost, kind of like
Yeah.
it's kind of pregnant on the one side, and Mongolia's just crushing the shit out of it. Anyway, if you imagine it, the Wuhan province is very much like Kentucky and Tennessee. That area. If you were to say, if you can see, Jake, where it is in China.
Yeah.
It's kind of Mississippi, Kentucky,
Yeah.
Tennessee-ish.
It's not quite Florida.
Virginia and West Virginia. It's not that far east, and it's not that far south, Florida.
Yeah. I would
But
say
it's-
something like DC.
Maybe Ohio even.
Nah, it's no. I would.
Oh, DC is like way over.
Anyway, point is,
God damn it!
they're quite a ways away from each other, and they're yeah.
And there's like water between them too, like an ocean and shit.
But as I said, Corona, which is an anagram for raccoon, in Raccoon City is the fictional city.
And raccoon has 2 C's.
Exactly. That's just common knowledge.
Sorry, dipshits.
Yeah, and Raccoon City is a fictional
I
city.
gotta say though, when I saw it, I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
By the way, you know what would happen to this world if everybody just like if everybody died off and shit? Whoever was left would not have that great of a time because there's
It's pretty boring.
There's a lot of things that have to be maintained every single day, or else like they explode or catch fire and like, destroy everything.
We need people to, because you think the planet wants to kill you now. Just imagine when it's
All the shit that
All right, so let's get to.
There's all these nuclear plants and nobody's running them, and you're like sitting in Iowa going, "Yeah, I'm all by myself," and then you're like, "What? I feel funny. I feel weird. What's wrong? Why do I have 4 arms?"
Why do I have 4 arms? It's like the fish from Simpsons with 3 eyes.
You're just, what the fuck?
So let's move on to the final thing that we're going to cover today. And
The final
here's the thing about coronavirus. It's something that's current, and there's going to be more things that come up. And if there's other big conspiracy theories,
my favorite, mainly because Laura Ingraham is just a worthless waste of flesh.
Anyway,
She really is.
There's going to be more stories, and this was the initial angle I wanted to take, but things kind of just went all over the place. The first thing that I heard that really changed my mind and made me wanted to do this for a topic. First off, Lynn Liaz is boring as hell, and I couldn't really mind anything out of her. So I was just thinking about what we could talk about, and I kind of wanted to stray away from doing something current because, again, there's so much going into this, and I put a lot of research into it, but there's so much more, and I don't feel like I did nearly enough. So I wanted to go with this angle of the current one that are being used by right-wingers. Now, there's no surprise to people that know me or probably listen to this show. I am a left-leaning person, but I'm exposed to right-wing media a lot, and I hate it, I do, but I hate all political commentary. I don't like MSNBC or CNN. I don't really like any of that.
Say MSG. I'm like, I don't like MSG either.
No, MSG is bad. So if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't really like any political commentary because it's just finger pointing. It's all finger pointing. That's all it will be. And you're seeing, especially with Bernie, you're seeing with Bernie Sanders about how partisan the media really is now, and it sucks. But I just couldn't resist because it's just so funny. So, earlier this week, the godfather of conservative talking heads, Rush Limbaugh, claimed that everybody was overreacting to the coronavirus and that it only exists for the left to attack Trump. I have a clip of this. Now, I will say, I know that he's not being literal. I know that Rush Limbaugh doesn't believe that the coronavirus was legitimately created by the deep state leftists to make a virus. I believe that. That's not the point of playing this clip. I just think it's funny that somebody could think this way. That's all I'm saying.
Folks, this coronavirus thing, I want to try to put this in perspective for you. It looks like the coronavirus being weaponized as yet another element to bring down Donald Trump. Now, I want to tell you the truth about the coronavirus. What, you think I'm wrong about this? You think I'm missing it by saying it's... Yeah, I'm dead right on this. The coronavirus is the common cold, folks. The drive-by media hype of this thing as a pandemic, as the Andromeda strain, as, oh my God, if you get it, you're dead. Do you know what I think the survival rate is 98%. 98% of people get the coronavirus survive. It's a respiratory system virus. It probably is a Chi-Com laboratory experiment that is in the process of being weaponized.
Again, I want to read.
Chi-Com, real quick, just for the listening audience, is conservative speak for communist China. It's a derivative.
Maybe? Not derivative.
It's a derogatory term.
That's the word.
It is literally. I mean, I don't know. There used to be a word that people would say. It started with a CH. That would describe a lot of Asian people. That was very, very hurtful and derogatory.
This is a way to say Chinese communists, so they're like Chi-Com.
When they say Chi-Com, that's them saying that CH word from back in the day. But this one is acceptable, I guess. But it's not. It's literally what they're saying is they're literally putting every Asian person under the same umbrella.
It is a way of...
And they're not aware of the fact that Indians are Asians also.
Yeah.
And Afghanistanis.
Yeah,
they're not aware of that at all.
It's supposed to be for Chinese communists, but at this point, you're right. It is almost like it's pretty much a racial slur because it is.
That's the way they use it.
He's essentially lumping everybody that's Chinese into this. By the way, going back to our good old friend Tom Cotton, who he's a senator, by the way.
A fuckface.
Elections matter. Vote, because then you won't have people like him running our government. Yeah, you did. Anyway, this is not a man-made virus. Rush makes the claim that it is a man-made virus. It is not. He said probably, though. He did say probably.
Yeah, that's where he gets around the whole... I was going to say regulations about stuff, but he's rich, so it doesn't apply to him.
It doesn't matter to him.
If you or I said like shit like that on the air, you and me,
yeah.
Oh, we'd get fined by the FCC so hard we'd be fucking fined back to the Stone Age.
Anyway.
Just saying.
Anyway.
Really is who you know.
He kind of makes this narrative that this is a weapon for the left against Trump, which he's not terribly wrong in that idea that one side is going to make it political and then the other side is going to react. That's just how politics work. But need I remind you of, I don't know, 5 years ago when the Ebola outbreaks were happening and Donald Trump himself tweeted and complained about Obama getting a czar to try and combat it. And then Trump gets a guy like Mike Pence who doesn't believe in science. And I don't know. I don't know how else to say that.
I don't care if there's an HIV outbreak in southern Indiana. I will not participate with that liberal bull crap.
But my point
of the needle sharing program. No, that's ridiculous. That promotes drug use and gayness. And HIV. That's Mike Pence. He literally enabled a giant HIV outbreak in Indiana because he's an idiot.
Pray it away.
We can't give them needles. That's literally like saying, hey, do drugs. No, what it's saying is please use a clean needle.
Yes.
You
Be smart
fucking idiot.
And use the right equipment is what it is saying.
And you know what? If they could do it out in the open, you know how quickly heroin would just be like, it's boring.
Yeah, it isn't fun until you
see like 19 people in a row on like park benches just shooting up right there. You'd just be like, I don't want to do it anymore.
It is worth noting that Rush is
no matter how awesome it is.
We're moving on, buddy. If I don't do that, you'll keep going.
I will.
It is worth noting the way he said there's a 98% survival rate. That is true in the U.S. right now. And he does have a point that it is getting overblown. The coronavirus isn't as bad as we might perceive it to be. Again, it is just something that's new, and new is scary, especially when you don't have a vaccine for it.
Yes.
I have a friend who I can't disclose their name or where they work because they want to. I don't want to get him in trouble, and I don't want to get us in trouble. I'm not a journalist, but I'm gonna.
But he plays one on TV.
Right. I'm gonna pretend I am and not use my source. So if you think I'm all bullshit, fine, that's okay. But from someone that I know that's close to the situation says that it's roughly 80% of cases are minor, with most severe generally seen in elderly people. And those are the people that died on the cruise ship. They were in their 80s. They were old.
I thought you almost said crucifix. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
They died on the cruise ship. And the reason they died is because they're older. And this happens every year when you see the flu number.
That's fucking ageism, dude.
Your immune system just isn't that strong in your 80s, man. It's science.
Elderly people are treasures.
Anyway, they're minor, and they're usually with elderly people. And as far as this person knows, there aren't any cases with children. And it says that with a roughly 2% mortality rate. So Rush wasn't lying about the percentage. He was right about that. But again, for him to go on the air and say that he isn't politicizing it, the left is politicizing it, is nonsense. This is what happens in politics. This happens in politics. It's going to be politicized because it's in our minds. It is the zeitgeist.
And just to kind of throw this out, like, we're facetious about a lot of things.
By the way, everything's politicized.
Yeah, that's true. We're facetious here about a lot of things, but we're not joking. Like, I mean, whether or not there's legal issues involved, the bottom line is that a friend of ours gave us information on the condition that, hey, you know what, we can't say who it is because it might affect, their lives in a bad way. That's a consequence that we don't, want to be responsible.
We're not going to be flippant with things.
So even though we're very facetious about a lot of things, that's serious. We're very grateful to our friend, and we're gonna honor that stuff. But those are serious consequences. So we just want to make that clear that we can be serious about some things.
Yeah. And again, I the whole, and we'll get to the last bit of this that I promise is gonna just be ridiculous. But the whole reasoning behind this is I had a conversation with this person, an honest conversation about the coronavirus, and he was upset because he felt that the media and he thought some people were selling a paranoia, selling hysteria, and that comes with people like Alex Jones or people who can't seem to just wait for scientists to say things and take things the wrong way. Like when the CDC, I can't remember her name, but the head of the CDC comes out and says it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I want people to understand that that's because coronavirus is something like a cold. It's something like the flu.
There's also no vaccine right now.
And it's already a pandemic. It's already been spread to other countries. It's a global thing. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and they're trying to figure out how to handle it. That does
make me feel better that person who, because everything we've been talking about up to this point has been largely speculation. And that gives us a nice insight into what is really going down.
And again, if you think
truth to tell, from the information we got, both sides are sort of right.
Yeah, they are. Both. I think Rush, while I don't necessarily agree with the beginning of his thesis, I do think he is, the percentage is right, and the severity of it was on the same level. It's not as bad as we're perceiving it, but because, like we said, swine flu, bird flu, whenever
and to be honest, yes, Democrats are politicizing it.
Of course they are. It's an election year.
Yes, he was right about that too.
The point is that when I talked to him, he was very...
And the left is correct.
Anyway,
it's not man-made.
Yeah. And he was very upset, and I wanted to make this episode to, one, have some fun with these conspiracy theories and laugh at some of the silly things that are current. It's rare that we get to do something this current. Mm-hmm. But it was also, I wanted to calm people down a little bit and step them back from the ledge, and I want people to understand that we're going to be okay. And
just like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, don't panic.
So before it's over, we have to talk about Laura Ingraham. And this is why I hate political commentary so much. Because or especially with things like this, somebody like Rush Limbaugh comes out and makes his statement, says these things. So then that essentially goes back to the other talking heads in conservative media. Okay, this is Rush's take. This is what he's going to say. Then it filters through Hannity. It filters through Ingram.
The trickle-down theory does work. It's just ideas in conservative circles.
Right.
It's not money in the
By the way, the left does it too. It's both sides of this. Yeah. The left...
No,
I mean, look at MSNBC.
Disorganized about it.
Look at MSNBC with idiots like Chris Matthews who are smearing Bernie Sanders and stuff with this election. Like, it happens. But let's hear what Laura Ingraham has to say. She said, we're playing two separate clips on two separate days. She gave her 2 cents on her show, and this clip is from Tuesday night.
2 cents ain't worth a nickel.
Shut up. This is from Tuesday night.
But first, I've been warning for weeks and weeks to keep an eye on the coronavirus that's spreading from China to countries around the world. My concern was that I didn't trust what China was saying about it. And some breaking news to report on the virus tonight. The U.S. military just announced moments ago that one of its soldiers based in South Korea did test positive for this new virus, the first U.S. service member to be infected. Now, I'm going to take you through how all this unfolded today. At roughly noon, with the president out of the country, the CDC began sounding this alarm.
Disruption to everyday life may be severe, but these are things that people need to start thinking about now. People are concerned about the situation.
I don't have the video in front of me. I just have the audio, otherwise I'd give you the name of this person, but this clip's up on YouTube.
CDC is concerned about the situation.
Ingram sounding the alarm on the coronavirus.
Well, and in India, with the markets, the president was in India, obviously, and the markets plummeting because of the coronavirus spread, all of that accelerating. President Trump also addressed the threat.
We're working with China very much on the virus. We feel that's something. And I have to tell, I spoke to President Xi the other day. He is so committed to solving that problem. He is working very hard. He is very capable. The country is very capable. And it snuck up on him, but I think he's going to do well.
Snuck up on him? I mean, I don't know what to say about that. Well, it was measured, and it was diplomatic, and he's on the world stage, so we like that. But I sure wouldn't trust China on this issue at all, for starters. We still don't know what sparked this epidemic, and Chinese censors have also been scrubbing the internet of any real information about what's going on within their own borders. But don't count on the WHO for any help on this. They're basically complicit, in my view, in what China has been doing to cover this
World
up.
Health Organization.
Gotcha.
We look at, okay, the rest of the world would be access the expertise of China. And they've done this at scale. They know what they're doing. And they're really, really good at it. And they're really keen to help. If I had COVID-19, I want to be treated in China.
Well, then why don't you go over there and just stay in China if it's so fun over there?
She was talking about
Despite all of this, of course, the
MSNBC.
president and his team do have to prepare for the possibility of outbreaks here in the United States. It's a virus. Viruses travel. Today, his working group was back in Washington, and it got into the specifics.
The immediate risk to the general American public remains low. But as we have warned, that has the potential to change quickly. There is now community transmission in a number of countries, including outside of Asia. That's deeply concerning.
The usual and appropriate care for most patients who develop the novel coronavirus or COVID-19 would be management at home through home isolation, with use of healthcare facilities only as needed for those who have severe presentations.
Now, watching the media coverage today, it seemed like some of the Trump haters were actually relishing in this moment.
I'm going to pause it because this is the point where she tries to say that the left is foaming at the mouth to talk about this while she's doing this whole entire segment as if irony does not exist.
New avenue it was. A coronavirus. That's a new pathway for hitting President Trump. How sick
also the same
that these people
that
seem
Obama about
almost
Ebola.
happiest when Americans are hurting. And, of course, our markets are feeling the pain. Now, the sell-off has been significant and...
So I'm done there. I had a longer clip and I had another Laura Ingraham clip. I can't do it anymore.
but my brain started leaking out of my ears, and he's like, look, I keep you down in this bunker all the time, but that's just cruel and unusual.
I don't think Tyler could physically hand it anymore because his face was through the... Your hand was sticking out of the back of your head. That's how much you face palm. So I agree. I think we got our point across. Of course, this is what she's concerned with, and there was criticisms to Donald Trump about this, and she talked about it on Wednesday, about the fact that it seemed like he only cared about the markets. That's what some people felt like. And here's where I'm at. If you think that, I understand. Yeah. If you don't think he does that, I understand. I understand both sides of this whole coronavirus thing. Because whether we like it or not, we're in this together. And to say it's politicized or it's partisan, meanwhile doing a whole entire segment of why it is partisan and political.
And then making it partisan and political.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what that whole thing was with her. And Rush doubles down on it because God forbid they be wrong. And
that's the other thing too. That's
again,
the most frustrating thing is
that's politics.
They'll never ever say, "Oops."
That's politics.
Never.
They never do.
If I was a politician, I'd say it all the time. Yeah, I fucked up. I would never get reelected. But it would be refreshing, wouldn't it?
It's just another thing.
That guy can't stop fucking up and telling us about it. What a refreshing take on a politician.
Yeah, right.
Good job, Tyler America.
At the end of the day, with the coronavirus, the CDC said it's not a matter of if, but when. And based on what I know from someone close to the situation, this is accurate. COVID-19 is going to be a part of our lives, whether we like it or not. We're all in this together, as I just said. However, I will give some right-wingers credit, like Rush Limbaugh and Laura Ingraham, while their intentions are in a bad place, they do speak some truth that COVID-19 isn't as bad as one might think. The virus is scary because it's new, and we haven't had a vaccine developed for it yet. In reality, COVID-19 will likely just be another version of the cold or the flu, and it's just something we're going to have to live with. And it's just what it is. Best thing I could say is to wash your hands, be smart, and it's the same thing that you would do for flu season. You do it now, and I can only hope that things get better. I want this to be, as someone... a normal, sane person, I want people to be healthy, and I don't want these bad things to happen. I'm sure you're the same way. Mm-hmm. You're nodding.
Well,
you were letting me talk, but I was just saying that you were.
No, I just
agreeing with
the thing that really and we're wrapping it up, so I'll make this quick.
Yeah, this is.
But the thing that really, really just made me almost bleed out my ears was when she said, "How sick must people be when they're happiest when Americans are like." I'm the person who's saying we need to feed, clothe, and shelter every sick, hungry, and poor person in the entire world. No exceptions.
I'd also like to point
and
out.
I just kind of hate that you're telling me that I don't like fuck you.
It's also worth pointing out that segment ended again before Trump's press conference. It was on Tuesday. Trump's press conference was on Wednesday, but it ends with her complaining that the CDC and WHO want more money, and
that's it. It's a cash grab.
And she was upset because the left doesn't think he's giving them enough. Blah blah blah. It's just a circle. It's a circular thing. It's all the same stuff.
Like a butthole.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we just need to be smart. We just need to take care of ourselves.
Is your butthole circular? Yeah, we do.
And as Jeff Goldblum would say in Jurassic Park, life finds a way. So thanks for listening to another episode of Tinfoil Radio. You can follow us on social media.
If you take this drop of water and drop it here, see where it went. But then if I take it and drop it in the exact same...
Stop. That's a lot of shit. That's a big pile of shit. That's the quote.
No.
I stopped you because now I wanted to do one.
No.
And you shut up and get back in your hole. Anyway,
can you at least bring me some porn
next
time?
Can I finish every damn time? Let me finish the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off camera.
Anyway, put the lotion on the skin. Anyway, Tinfoil Radio. You can follow us on Twitter now.
I don't want to get the hose.
Shut up. I have to be so mean to you. Shut up. You can follow us on Twitter at tinfoil_radio. You can send your own conspiracy theories because we're going to keep doing that where we do episodes where we make up our own conspiracies. We want to know yours. So you can send that to tinfoilradiopodcast@gmail.com. And next week, do you think we should just go for it?
What?
Should our first profiles in conspiracy be about the one and only Mike Adams from naturalnews.com?
We'll see. We're gonna.
We're gonna work it out.
If we do a profile, I don't know that we are settling on him yet, but I'm down for doing a profile in conspiracy.
Yes, we will actually do a.
We were just talking about how boring he is, so. Yeah, that clip.
Yeah. That's why I cut like 10 seconds out of a 40-minute clip.
We're gonna do this guy next week, and then the same thing happened this week.
Right.
We
just got lucky that coronavirus has so many stupid conspiracy theories. But anyway, until next week, if you're listening to this, then we're already dead.
What is my problem?